It takes a wise man to point out the obvious to us. They say there's just such a man in India. Swami Muktananda, affectionately known as Baba, to tens of thousands of people around the world. This spiritual leader has been known to touch the lives of men and women in all walks of life, field workers to multimillionaires. Baba Muktananda has been visited by scientists, artists, statesmen, world leaders, even pro football players, like NFL star Jordan Looney. He's also won the love and respect of one of my favorites, Masha Mason.
जैसा दिन भर खाके पीके नाच कुछ जो भी कुछ मौज मजा करके मनुष्य थक जाता फिर निद्रा में खुशी लेता.
All day man eats, drinks, dances and makes merry and tries to derive happiness. However, when he retires at night, when he goes to sleep, in his sleep he attains his happiness.
और निद्रा में खाने को नहीं पीने को नहीं भोगने को नहीं फिर भी सुख उठाता वो सुबह उठते बगाता हम हैप्पी बोलता.
In sleep, there's no eating, no drinking, no merry, no fun. Still, when he wakes up in the morning, he says, I feel happy.
वैसे ही इसका अर्थ इतना ही है मना बाहर दुनिया से सुखी नहीं अंतर प्रवेश हो जाने से सुख प्राप्ति कर लेता.
This shows only when the mind turns within does it derive happiness from within. When it's moving outside, it doesn't find any happiness.
इसलिए सच्चा निर्मल ध्यान करना चाहिए मनुष्य.
Therefore, man should meditate with great purity.
Before I met Baba, I suppose the best way to describe how I felt was I was always continually searching for something, some idea, something that would explain a lot of questions that I had about life. And then once I met Baba, all the searching seemed to stop. I didn't need any more to find a new philosophy or find a different therapist or be orientated into a different group or a church or anything like that. It was, to me, very practical, very simple, and cut through all the kind of standard nonsense that happens with a lot of organizations or philosophies or things like that. I learned about Baba through a friend of mine, Barbara Colby, who I was doing a show with in New York. And Baba was coming to New York on that second, I guess it was, world tour. And so she took me to meet him, which I did. I asked Barbara if there was anything I was supposed to know ahead of time, and I was naturally nervous. And so she said, well, usually you bring a little present or something, some fruit or a flower or something. And so I said, oh, okay. So I arrived that morning, and I was to meet her there, and she came with this armload of the most beautiful orange tiger lilies I had ever seen. And I looked down at these two little pears that I had brought, and I thought, oh, my God, these dinky little pears. I didn't know you were supposed to go all out and have all these great big presents and everything. And then when it came time to meet him, all of the nervousness about bowing and whether the present was acceptable, all just was sort of, he just took it all aside. I mean, suddenly there I was bowing and the presents were given, and then we were on into other things.
Masha is a very nice woman.
और मास्टर के विषय में तुम लोग सब आशा रख सकता मास्टर एक्टर होने वाली बोलकर.
You can have a great hope for Masha that she will be a great actress one day.
When Baba was in Oakland on the last world tour, I arranged to take my husband, Neil Simon, up to meet him. And I felt it would be an interesting meeting, the two of them getting together. So we met Baba at an appointed time, and they were having a wonderful conversation together all about hair loss and hair growth and a lot of other sort of humorous things. And then in the middle of it, Baba sort of interjected and says, now you have to write about meditation. And so Neil said, yes, yes, yes. And they went on talking about it. And then a few seconds later, Baba said, no, no, you have to write about meditation. And Neil said, oh, yeah, you're okay. And then Baba said, no, 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 no. You have to write about meditation. So Neil said, okay. So time passes, and I don't know, it's I don't know, maybe a year later, and Neil is preparing a script called The Goodbye Girl. And he's busy writing in his office and everything, and suddenly I hear all this chuckling going on behind this closed door, and I'm sort of interested to find out what it's all about. So he comes out and he said, here, I have something to show you. And so he gives me this scene to read. And it's the scene in The Goodbye Girl in which Richard Dreyfuss, as the male character, is preparing to get ready for the day. He has his first day of rehearsal in this job that he wants, and his life is just terrific. And it's about very early in the morning, and he's going, and there's this strange incense going on. And I play the part of a person who doesn't understand why anybody would want to do such strange things, especially at that hour of the morning, and say something to the effect that I'd heard more music in musicals compared to what he was doing. So anyway, he looks at me and he's very benign and he says, I have just meditated. My life is in perfect order. I am ready to begin a new day. Everything is wonderful, and you have not meditated, and therefore your life is terrible. He says, you are our mess, and I don't want to have any more to say to you. So I suddenly laughed, and I said, I guess that's the scene about meditation that Baba kept talking about. And Neil found that very interesting because he had completely forgotten about the fact that he had told Baba that he would write about meditation. So I said, you see, he works even when you don't remember. All I can say is that since meeting Baba, my life has become fuller, more meaningful. The love for my family has become deeper and more rewarding. My career has become more meaningful and flourishing, and I don't know what else I could possibly say, excepting that you really ought to hear it from the first person. So I turn everything over to Baba.
उदार जे मन का जाकर वो खुशी का समुद्र में बस जाना, इसका नाम ध्यान है.
Meditation is to turn within. Inside, there is a great center of happiness. There's a great ocean of happiness. So to become established in the ocean of happiness, to swim in it, is called meditation.
When I went to India, we left Bombay, a friend of mine and myself, we left Bombay early in the morning before it had gotten light to get to the ashram in time right after the Guru Gita. So we were driving along in this pale early light. And then slowly, as we began to approach the ashram, my friend Uma said to me, now look to the left, you'll see it, you'll see it. And suddenly, you see far away in the distance this beautiful place. The first thing that I saw was the courtyard. And it was like, again, all my preconceptions, all my expectations, whatever they were just blown apart, because what I saw was this beautiful place, some place that I had never seen before, that I was seeing for the first time, and yet felt absolutely familiar and comfortable with. It was soft and pretty, and the people were busy doing their work, and I just stood in the middle of the ashram and soaked it in. The daily routine was terrific. I would get up early in the morning. It was like 3:30, 4 o'clock or something like this, and would go down to Arati and meditation. Then in the afternoon, you do Guru Seva, which is like work at the ashram. You just sign up for almost anything, and I got some of the best jobs at the ashram. One of my first and favorites was that I got to wash the rags that the Guru Seva was done with. So you're on a hot floor and you're scrubbing these dirty rags, and you're actually having a good time. And if you can wash rags in the heat of India and have a good time, then Baba must be doing something right.
Now Joe is standing right here, and he's a great friend of our Vijayananda the elephant. The elephant didn't like anybody else as much as it liked Joe. You know, they belong to the same category.
Yes.
You would think that Joe Don Looney would have been extremely successful as a professional, because professional football, if indeed college football is not, is in the entertainment business, and he was entertaining, at least to those who didn't have to deal with him when he became his most entertaining, if you want to put quotation marks around that. But he wasn't. He was tried by 5 different teams, and there was, of course, very good reason to try him. He was an exceptionally good running back, if indeed he would conform. He is probably among the top 5 or at least 10 of the big men who are also fast. He could run with amazing speed, and he was a huge man. Brick walls really didn't bother him. He wouldn't go through the hole, you know. There would be a massive, there'd be enough to run a truck through, and Joe Don would go where some people were just to run over them.
You know, when I was playing ball, I did express a lot of anger and hatred toward people. I don't deny it. And I've thought about it a lot. And I experienced it in football, but I'm sure it's the same all across the board. It doesn't make any difference.
The man took a poke at an assistant coach at the University of Oklahoma when Bud Wilkinson, who most people should realize is a pretty conservative coach, was the head coach there. He would refuse to have his ankles taped because he said he knew more about his ankles than the trainers did. He refused to run the plays as they were in the playbook, and he wouldn't go through the hole. He says anybody could go through the hole. It took talent to go through the place where the hole was, and he'd like to run over people.
That was a great thrill, and I thought that I'd never have another thrill like it again. No matter, I just didn't see anything I could do for the rest of my life that would give me as much a thrill as that. Is running with the ball and having a bunch of great big guys chasing me. I used to tell the kids, you got to be a professional football player. Plenty of money in it, the hours are right, always a lot of women. Of course, in those days, I thought it'd last forever. But that was the thing that was missing, that it didn't last forever.
I think maybe a little of what Joe Don Looney was about has to do with the time he lived, at the time he was young. He grew up, he was at Oklahoma when the first big national notoriety came about in 1963. And as you recall, the 60s were an era of at least philosophical revolution. And I like to think in my philosophical moments that sports are a sort of a microcosm of our society, and the 60s were that. And there was just no place there was a place for the free spirit, but the free spirit didn't have any discipline. And in the organized society, which football is certainly a microcosm of, you have to be disciplined, you have to conform, and Joe Don Looney was a nonconformist of the highest order.
When I first got to India, I found out I was going to work with the elephant. I thought that he would be Baba's pet, and that he's Baba's pet, he's got to be like a little pussy cat. And I found out he can kick you, he can grab you with his trunk, but the thing that was really deadly was his tail. It's like a blackjack, a long blackjack. The hair on the end of it can cut you if he hits you with it. It can do some damage. So one day we were washing him, and I think I was probably in a bad mood anyway. And he hit me a couple times with it, and I just had enough. I just reverted back to the old way, and I slugged him. I thought no 6,000-pound elephant's going to be hitting on me, and I slugged him. And of course, he taught me humility real quick. I just figured that he would take it. But he didn't take it. He started dishing it out. And he was dishing it out a lot more than I can take. But Baba cleared it up one day. He simply said, you having a little trouble with Viju? I said, oh, just a little bit, Baba. He said, say his name with love and he'll be yours. There was so much love coming out of Baba. It was overwhelming. And I tried it. Even though we were fighting, I just treated him with love. And he did. We became good friends. My whole thing is that I was relying on outer objects. And the thing about the world, and this is the beauty of it, it'll give you 99, but it won't give you the 100. And there's nothing more frustrating than being one away from it. I mean, that's why you go mad and tear your hair. And it wasn't until I met Baba and he showed me that the 100% lies in here. And you can take it with you wherever you go. No excess baggage on that. It's always there. And the sages use words like you can swim in it, which it means you can drown in it. You can put it all over you. You can just merge with it. And that's something worth having. The rest, time takes it away.
From within, man begins to attain new wisdom, happiness, and different experiences.
हाँ, कुछ समय अभ्यास करना पड़ता.
You have to practice this for a while.
ये लोग का जो समझ है, ऐसे चुटकी बराबर एक कोर्स में 2 घंटे का पालेगा, ये भ्रम है. ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं.
And people want to attain everything within a short time, just like this. In 2-hour course, they want to attain everything. It doesn't happen.
हाँ, शक्ति एक तुरंत विकास हो सकता अंदर से, उसको पूर्णता को लेने को 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 वर्ष लग जाते.
The energy inside can unfold instantly. However, to complete it, it may take 3 years, 6 years, 9 years, 15 years, or 18 years.
फिर क्या ऐसा ये लोग जो बोलते इतना सुलभ नहीं है, जो सुलभ करके बोलते वो फंसा रहे दुनिया को.
And people say that it's very easy to attain it very quickly. And in this way, other people are cheating others.
उसका पहले जो गुरु लोग सिखाते, आप नहीं सीखे हुए कुछ सिखाते, आप नहीं देखे हुए कुछ बताते, आप नहीं सुने हुए कुछ बात करते.
If the gurus try to teach anything to others without having this experience, then that means they're teaching what they haven't learned. They're saying what they haven't spoken. They are telling others what they haven't seen. They're hearing something which they haven't heard. It's not that easy.
हाँ, तुमको उसका परिचय तुरंत हो सकता. पूर्ण होने के लिए तुम्हारा कसरत.
You can have the glimpse of it instantly. However, to complete it and to know it completely, you have to make some effort.
वो साधन से बहुत आश्चर्य भी, बहुत बया भी, बहुत खुशी भी, बहुत शरीर का रस सूखना भी, ऐसा बहुत प्रकार हो गया.
While I was meditating, many things began to take place inside me. And sometimes I would have strange experiences, sometimes miraculous experiences, sometimes beautiful experiences, sometimes my entire body seemed sucked up.
अनेक प्रकार का देश लोकांतर को देखा, लोकवासियों को देखा, स्वर्ग देखा, नरक देखा, पितृलोक देखा.
I also perceived many different higher planes. I saw heaven, hell, and also the world of ancestors.
जो हमारे पूर्वज मरे हुए को हम कुछ को देखा.
I saw some of my old friends there, relatives there.
एक ऐसा भी लोक देखा जिसमें महापुरुष लोग सिद्ध बैठे शांत एक चिन्मय तेज में.
I also saw another plane. In that plane, all the perfected beings, siddhas, were sitting. And that plane was made of this blue consciousness.
और भारी साधन करने वाला फिर भी हमको 9 बरस पूरा लगा. एक साथ 9 बरस साधन.
I was a great practicer of spiritual pursuit. However, it still took me 9 years to attain perfection.
उसी का बाद मनुष्य को साक्षात्कार का परिचय होता.
Only after that does man have experience of enlightenment.